I'm not watching Rings of Power Season 2. There's no need. I can experience it vicariously from various YouTubers. They will take the bullet for me. I can just ignore it and save myself much time and effort. After all, I'm not really interested in algorithm chasing. This will likely be the only video that I will do on Rings of Power, although certainly I might make some comparisons when I talk about other Lord of the Rings projects later. And why? Why am I not going to bother with Rings of Power? Well, it's quite simple. It's not Tolkien. It's bastardised, bog-standard, generic fantasy masquerading as Tolkien's Middle-earth, like the brutal amateur society putting on a performance of The Hobbit, but with less integrity. Amazon is just making it all up, taking bullet points from the few parts of Tolkien's work that they do have a licence for, and then filling in the gaps, like Indian scientists in Jurassic Park.
Gee, the lack of humility that's being displayed here staggers me. It didn't require any discipline to attain it. You know, you read what others had done, and you took the next step. You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you even knew what you had, you patented it, and packaged it, and slapped it on a plastic lunchbox, and now you're selling it. You want to sell it. Well,
the Númenóreans are wrong. Timelines of thousands of years are being condensed. Celeborn has been removed. Characters are being invented. Events are being fabricated. And motivations are being abused. This is not Tolkien. Therefore, why would I give it any credence? I don't care what the Tolkien estate says. They have lost all credibility and integrity, taking Amazon's filthy coin and allowing their forefathers' creation to be twisted and corrupted.
Taken by the dark powers, tortured and mutilated, a ruined and terrible form of life.
I deny it. I reject it. I condemn it. And I will ignore it. There is no good intent. There is no humility or reverence, no attention or care or commitment to capturing Tolkien's world or themes. No respect. And it's deliberate. It is as simple as that. While one would like to put this all down to gross incompetence and people trying to perform far above their talents, there is something more insidious at work here. They have a narrative, an agenda, and certain things that they want to portray, and they are using Tolkien's creations to do it, corrupting and abusing the professor's work with abandon, and in all honesty, no small measure of glee, I am sure. Let's not forget what the showrunners said. It's the story of the creation of all those powers, where they came from, and what they did to each of those races. Can we come up with a novel Tolkien never wrote, and do it as the mega event series that could only happen now?
Sheer fucking hubris.
No. No, you couldn't. And that's why I'm not watching. A final point. People will inevitably bring up the Peter Jackson excuse. I know this because they already have when I've criticised the show on social media. Jackson changed things. Jackson cut things out. Jackson didn't follow the books exactly. Let's remind ourselves just quickly of what the Rings of Power showrunner said. Now, what Peter Jackson said.
As filmmakers, as writers, we had no interest whatsoever in putting our junk, our baggage into these movies. We just thought we should take what Tolkien cared about clearly, we should take those and we should put them into the film. This should ultimately be Tolkien's film, it shouldn't be ours.
Now, let's rip the naysayers' argument apart. The Lord of the Rings, as is written, is probably unfilmable. No adaptation ever, including the lauded BBC radio drama, included Tom Bombadil. Lord of the Rings, as the book was written, would be a musical. They're constantly bloody singing some song or the other. Omissions were essential. But the changes they cry, Glorfindel, Arwen, the romance. In the Lord of the Rings, females are not exactly front and centre. Partly due to Tolkien's experiences in World War I. Even 25 years ago, audiences required at least a teeny bit more female energy than would have been in a direct adaptation. Personally, I thought the work done with the likes of Arwen, Éowyn and Galadriel was superb, providing them with a feminine energy while leaving the men masculine. One look at Rings of Power, even in Season 1, has girl bosses everywhere, emasculating their male counterparts, who were hardly titans of testosterone in the first place. Jackson didn't race swap anyone, didn't make up characters to fulfill a narrative, didn't ignore timelines, or interject his own politics or perspective. Jackson didn't need to insert elements from other elements of Tolkien's writings that weren't present at the time to try to achieve some kind of false authenticity. Any lines that were new evoked the feelings and themes that Tolkien espoused, not the flowery, pretentious nonsense that the writers of Rings of Power came up with. Jackson, Walsh and Boyens were the perfect team to adapt The Lord of the Rings. Sadly, they then also made The Hobbit, but I'm not talking about that either. It falls far short of The Lord of the Rings, although in all honesty it is practically a masterpiece compared to Rings of Power. And as for the future films they are now attached to for Warner Brothers, well, when it comes to the might of that team, to the irresistible force that is modern Hollywood,
do not trust to hope. It has forsaken these lands.
Thanks for watching. I've been Critic. If you like what I do, drop me a subscribe. If you don't, feel free to comment to let me know why. And I'll be back with another movie review soon.